In a recent study made by Dyslexia, over 80% of teachers, nearly 85% of teachers, said that identifying dyslexia in the classroom was hard to impossible. The same study showed over 20% of people with dyslexia are never recognised at all and never identified. What we know, by the way, is we know that if you find reading and writing and the basic literacy skills difficult, you are eventually 6 times more likely to drop out of school. We also know that school dropout rates and homelessness are absolutely linked. So the teacher's inability to identify dyslexia on a systemic scale, the systemic scale of missing dyslexia in school, and the links between dyslexia and homelessness show that what happens is you are far more likely to become homeless if you're dyslexic than if you're not dyslexic. These are borne out by the studies, by the way. These figures are borne out by the studies. There was one study of homeless people that showed that 50% of them showed signs of dyslexia. There were a couple of other studies, each one saying that if you're dyslexic, you are roughly twice as likely to end up homeless than if you're not dyslexic. You put these figures together and you have a social earthquake. I mean, this is huge stuff. If we want to tackle the problem of homelessness, actually, we have a route into doing that. If you want to tackle the problems of homelessness, you begin in school. You begin by teaching people properly with systematic phonics, with reading skills, with individuated teaching, with increasing the number of teachers in schools, by the way, reducing class sizes, having people who need help given individuated help. This is what you do. If you do this, you reduce homelessness. If you reduce homelessness, you reduce all sorts of financial issues, poverty, health poverty. Health poverty is a huge issue, by the way. If you're dyslexic, you are far more likely to be unable to gain access to read, take in, understand health literature. If that happens, there is a huge chance that you are going to die early. In fact, one study has placed it that men with low health literacy are more likely to die something like 26 years earlier than the national average. And we find that those who are homeless typically have low health literacy. If we're serious about the problems of homelessness, we have to be serious about the problems of dyslexia. And if you're serious about the problems of dyslexia, you can't simply say, well, give them a little bit extra in exams, because often by that point it's too late. They've already fallen behind, they've failed to learn, they've given up, they find school a desperately abject place to be. Just giving them an extra half hour in exams is it's torture. We need to find different ways. We need to restructure the way we educate. We need to reduce the reliance on reading and writing and copying and learning by rote. We need to make education fit for all, because if we don't, society is not fit for anyone.